Hello. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. I am incredibly honored to talk about fun in visual arts, cartooning as a visual outlet. My name is Megan Shimbashi, and I am a PGY3 at the KCI Institute. In addition to being an ophthalmology trainee, I am also a cartoonist and comic artist on the side. And if you're interested, there's a QR code to my Instagram page where I post some of these comics. No pressure to check it out, but I'm here to talk about the fun of comics and the utility of comics in medicine. Okay, so I thought that the best way to start this talk would be by sharing a comic that I created pretty early on in my residency training. So on the left is me, freshly graduated from medical school, really excited about starting ophthalmology residency, and perhaps a little bit too naive about her ability to learn about the eyeball. After all, we had just spent 4 years mastering the entire human body. How much harder could it be to learn about one tiny part of the body? And then the next panel is me about 1 month into residency, completely buried alive under the BCSC series in the sheer amount of knowledge that they contain. And I think this comic is funny because it's true. It captures this unexpected gap between expectations and reality. And it let me focus on this moment that at that time was not that funny, and sometimes is still not that funny, and poke at it and laugh at it. And for me, that is the power of comics. They are a powerful tool for reflection, coping, and connecting. I'm not the only physician that has spoken highly about the importance of hobbies in medicine. In fact, Dr. Janice Law, who we all very much admire, wrote this really great article in the AAO titled How to Maintain Your Passions. And I had the opportunity to draw a partner comic with that. And in that article, she speaks very highly about hobbies as a method for maintaining health and wellness. She also emphasizes that focusing on our personal well-being ultimately will help us in our professional lives in taking care of patients. She talks about how hobbies can also help you build skills that you may not necessarily associate with patient care, but ultimately help enhance the way that you take care of patients. For example, if you're a photographer, for example, you develop a keen attention to detail, which will help you diagnose and treat your patients. If you are a writer, you have this mastery with words, which allow you to communicate and empathize with your patients. And if you're an artist like me, you develop hand-eye coordination skills that will help you in the operating room. I think our 3 biggest takeaways from this article that I wanted to share with you are that passions prevent burnout, hobbies promote creativity and skills, which will help you take care of your patients, and by dedicating time to your personal lives, you will feel more fulfilled with your professional lives. So I want to share a little bit about my story and how I started to use cartooning and comics as an outlet. So as you can probably tell from my last name and my art style, I grew up in a Japanese family, but I am not fluent in Japanese or familiar with the Japanese culture. So the way that I communicated with my non-English speaking family members was by drawing pictures. And by drawing these sequential pictures about what was happening in my day-to-day life and using facial expressions to express how I was feeling, my family members were able to understand what I was doing and what I was trying to communicate. And over time, this tool became a way for me to reflect on my day-to-day experiences, how I felt about certain things. And I continued this throughout elementary, middle school, became the cartoonist for my high school newspaper, continued throughout medical school, and then eventually started posting some of these comics on social media. And that's where the connection really started. I started receiving comments from all around the world from people at various levels of training saying things like, hey, I saw your comic about you feeling insecure about your surgical skills. I was there too. And I've had attendings tell me, don't worry, it gets better. And that was a really meaningful moment for me because it truly helped me realize how comics are a powerful tool for connection, and that sometimes the best medicine for when you're feeling down is that knowing that someone else has been there too. So I want to shift the focus now from hobbies to humor, because humor has also been shown to be a powerful tool against preventing burnout. One of the perks of doing residency in the same city as Dr. Glockenflecken is that sometimes we cross paths. And we recently met at the Oregon Academy of Ophthalmology, where he also gave a talk about humor. And I wanted to share this quote with you that he said because I think it perfectly articulates what I'm trying to do with my comics. So humor allows you to take that bad thing, cancer, trauma, whatever it is, and have some control over it. It empowers you to change the narrative in the way you want, to write the story that you want. And I think that is incredibly powerful, right? To have things happen to you where you have no control over, to be able to process it, reflect on it, take what you want out of it, and then share the narrative in the way that you want, sometimes in a way that sparks joy in others to promote connection, empathy, and resilience. So I'm not the only physician who draws comics. I wanted to share a few other artists that I admire and respect, and they actually gave me permission to share their work with you today. So on the left is artwork by Dr. Shirley Abu-Abi, aka Shirley Whirl MD. How many of you guys have heard of her? Yes? She's a really prominent graphic medicine artist who has been documenting her highs and lows of training as a Black woman in medicine ever since she was a medical school student. So from medical school, residency, cardiology fellowship, and now attendingship, she has been documenting about how she's been combating racial micro and macroaggressions, as well as social injustices and difficulties with handling prior auths and medications for her patients. I highly encourage you to take a look at her Instagram page. Her QR code is on the left. And then on the right is an artist who is a colleague of mine, Dr. Alan Kong, who is a PGY4 at UCLA. And he draws more ophthalmology-related content, but I'm sure as all the trainees can empathize with on that panel, he has struck chords with many trainees and ophthalmologists alike. His work is always featured in the AAO. I highly recommend you check out his artwork when you get the chance. So I hope that I was able to give a little bit of insight onto how humor and comics and hobbies are important for maintaining your well-being and happiness, and how that ultimately can contribute to your professional life. If anything, I want you to come out of this talk inspired to either reconnect with old hobbies that you haven't had time to do since going into medicine, or feel compelled to continue pursuing those hobbies, right? Whether that's gardening, or reading, or drawing, or singing in the shower, right? All of those things are not frivolous activities. They help you feel more like you, and will prepare you to do better at work and beyond. So thank you very much.